A question. Have you ever eaten hamburgers on toast? Between two slices of toast, rather than on a bun? I have. This is why. At the time, I was living in St. Catharines, Ontario, one of the most temperate places in Canada, with a climate similar to Northern California. But hey, it's Canada. It snows. The university I attended, Brock, lies atop the Niagara Escarpment, which towers over 1,000 feet above the city. And the top of the scarp was prone to terrific dumps of snow, which shut everything down, including the university. But this particular storm hit the city below as well. I had bummed a ride home when the U was shut down, but by the time we reached my apartment building, the entranceway was already clogged with snow, so I had to get out and battle the rest of the way on foot. At the time, I lived with my mum, who was on a fixed income and so was dependent on my monthly room and board. It had been a good arrangement at first, but after 3 years, we were both heartily sick of one another. I would have preferred to stay at school, where I could smoke cigarettes, shoot the shit with my friends, and go for the odd beer, rather than be cooped up with Mom in a small apartment at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Mom inquired rather sourly what I was doing home. When I told her, she looked out our 10th floor window at the near whiteout conditions and said, "It doesn't look too bad to me." I tried to explain the situation, but she wasn't really listening. Instead, she said, "We're having hamburgers tonight, but we need buns." I knew where this was going, but refused to pick up, so she continued, with the right degree of mild exasperation, "I need you to go get hamburger buns. There's a howling blizzard out there." It doesn't look too bad to me. In the end, I gave in, as I knew I would. To tell the truth, I was happy to escape the apartment for a while and planned on wasting time at the mall, which was directly across the street from our apartment building. Maybe I would run into some people from school. "Get them at the grocery store, not the corner variety," Mom admonished as I left on my errand. The building super and his helper were attempting to clear the snow which had piled up in the entranceway. In other words, they were leaning on their shovels and talking. So I decided to go out the back door, which led to the rear parking lot, huddled at the base of the escarpment. Outside, I was immediately buffeted by the wind, which came howling down off the scarp, but I figured I would be okay. After all, the wind would be at my back as I headed to the mall. Still, I decided to keep close to the walls of the building for as long as I could to mitigate the effect of the blast. All was well until I turned the corner to skirt along the side of the building. The storm smacked me across the back like a gigantic fist, causing me to stumble forward. Unfortunately, the ground along the side of the building was a solid sheet of ice, and I immediately began to slide, my shoes unable to find purchase on the sheer, frozen surface. I flapped my arms, trying to stay on my feet, and fell flat on my face. I lay there for a few moments, stunned, my breath knocked out of me. But slowly, gingerly, I began to sit up to try to stand up, and my feet slid out from under me. I tried again, but when I went to push up, my hands slipped, and I found myself face down again. It was easy to understand what was happening. I was lying flat on a sheet of slick and slippery ice, which was keeping me from getting up, while the gale held me down. Since I couldn't stand up, I decided to see if I could crawl to some place where I could, and discovered a new complication. Lying on the ice was akin to being a fly on the surface of a mirror, except for the fact the fly has sticky pads on its many feet. Here, my fingers couldn't get a grip, while my toes simply slid when I tried to push myself forward. It was getting cold, too. Normally, St. Kitts enjoyed a 6 and 6 winter, +6 in the daytime, -6 at night, or 43 Fahrenheit by day, 21 Fahrenheit by night. But now it was much colder, -10 at least. That's 14 degrees Fahrenheit. And the temperature was dropping fast. I started to laugh. Like many people of that era, I had grown up reading Jack London, The Call of the Wild, The Sea Wolf, and that most terrifying yarn of a man slowly freezing to death to build a fire. Well, here I was, in real danger of slowly freezing to death in one of the warmest cities in Canada, and not more than 50 feet from safety. But laughable or not, I could barely move. And the snow kept falling, and it was getting colder. Now, I was only a few feet away from the road leading to the rear parking lot, and I was lying in plain sight, so anyone driving around the back of the building was bound to see me. Bound to. But no one came. No one drove by. They were either already at home or wouldn't be due back for a few more hours. Maybe Mom would notice I was missing when I failed to return. Ha! She was probably glad I was out of the house. And all the time, the hurricane winds were increasing, and the snow was falling harder and harder, and it was getting colder and colder and colder. By this point, I had been pinned down for 20 minutes and was starting to feel like a frozen dinner. But I could see no way to escape. I began calling for help. Help! Help! Over and over, but my teeth were chattering, and my words were swallowed amidst the cascade of steadily falling snow. Soon I would be in danger of being buried underneath a snowdrift. I wondered if it was really true that it was easier to keep warm under a pile of snow. But I didn't want to find out. The increasing cold was making my brain shut down, but I still managed to finally have an idea. Along the edge of the driveway, leading to the back of the building, were several shrubs, the kind that stay green year-round. I wasn't able to stand up, but perhaps I could roll over to the shrubs and use them to pull myself up. It was worth a try. It was a sure bet no one was coming to my rescue. I tried rolling over on my side, and it worked, even though my Anglophile Cambridge cap flew off and quickly vanished in the gathering whiteout. I kept rolling, getting completely covered in the white stuff, until I looked like a snowman. But after a minute, I got to the shrubs, where I managed to claw myself to my feet. And then, heading directly into the gale and keeping well away from the ice, I shuffled and staggered and eventually reached the back door. When I collapsed into our apartment a few minutes later, my mom's first words were, "Don't drag all that snow in here," which was quickly followed by, "Where are my hamburger buns?" "There's a terrible storm out there," I sputtered, as I tried to explain what had happened to me, ending with, "I could have been killed." Mom wasn't paying any attention. Instead, she was looking out the window at the snow, which was falling so hard you couldn't see the mall across the street, and repeating, "It doesn't look too bad to me." She insisted I try again, and when I demurred, she ostentatiously grabbed her winter coat, muttering under her breath something about spoiled and ungrateful children. She was back in less than 5 minutes, and that evening I ate hamburgers on toast, not on a hamburger bun. The moral of the story? It is far, far better to eat hamburgers on toast than to die with cold buns. And, oh yeah, I did find my cap the very next day. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,021 subs in 2021. Till midnight. Cheers! Pictures used in today's video, courtesy of Pix Here, that's PX Here, while the music was the chilling Day of Chaos by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod.